What's up, Haunters? So today is probably the best day ever for Halloween 2025. Sneak peeks, reveals, leaks, whatever you want to call it. Because over the weekend, Home Depot has had their 2025 managers meeting, which at this, just like every year, they've revealed a large majority of their 2025 Halloween animatronic lineup, which of course we have a ton of photos of, and we're going to be checking out all these awesome new animatronics today. Overall, Home Depot this year looks like they're being really unique again. Unlike Spirit Halloween and other retailers, which each year just have all these mass-produced Halloween clowns, werewolves, all the same old stuff. This year they actually have some really unique stuff, which is unlike anything we've ever seen before. So anyways, that's enough talking here for the intro. Let's, of course, get right into checking out all these awesome new animatronics from Home Depot for 2025. Alright, so getting right into it, I think let's start off with the more unique stuff, and then we can get into the more generic, classic Halloween-y type stuff. First of all, right here, I really want to show you this cool new shark prop. Of course, this guy, he is just a stack, I believe, but overall, this thing is crazy. It's basically just this big blow mold shark, I think. It might be latex, but I believe it is just this plastic molded thing. But this looks awesome. It's basically a shark that it looks like he's coming out of the ground. He's got all these scars all over them. He's got his mouth wide open, ready to chomp down on you. It looks like his eyes right there glow red too, which is always awesome to see. But this is unlike anything we've really ever seen before. Typically, when we get Fisherman or sea-themed animatronics, it's usually just your classic sea monsters or stuff like that. Not an actual shark right here, which I think this may even be cooler than a lot of those sea-themed animatronics we've gone over the past few years. So yeah, overall, I'm a really big fan of this guy. You can do a cool display with this guy. You can make a fake little ocean or lake or something in your front yard. And then yeah, just have this guy jumping out of it. And then just with all those other sea-themed animatronics we've gone over the past so many years. So overall, he's awesome, very unique, and I'm a big fan. Alright, moving on, the next one right here isn't really a Halloween animatronic, but he is part of their Halloween animatronic lineup. This guy right here, of course, is this evil Leprechaun. And this right here is a very unique situation because typically for Halloween, we only have Halloween animatronics, you know. We don't have characters from other holidays that are made to be Halloween-y. But I really love what they're doing with this guy right here. They took your classic Leprechaun character from St. Patrick's Day, and they've made him evil. They've given him the axe right there in the one hand, his face right there, they've given him the pointy teeth, they've given him the pointy eyes right there that are glowing yellow, the curved eyebrows. Overall, it's really awesome, and yeah, get with this guy, I'm a big fan of the design there. I'm curious to see what his animation is. It would be cool if he does use servos there in the head, which he could potentially use. He'll probably have arm animation or something, but yeah, I love how unique this guy is, and I love the idea, too, of taking a character from another holiday and making it into Halloween. Now, it's still a little weird seeing this guy sold for Halloween. He would definitely be a better one to be released for St. Patrick's Day or something, but yeah, still, this guy's awesome, and honestly, I would love to have this to go with just my St. Patrick's Day stuff. I don't really have any decorations, but it would be nice to start with this awesome animatronic right here. And moving on, the next animatronic right here, just sort of in the same realm of it's from another holiday, but they made it into a Halloween animatronic. This guy right here, of course, is this brand new evil snowman, which I love the concept of this guy too. He's sort of similar to the Leprechaun in a way where they took a holiday character, in this case a snowman, and of course they made him evil there with this really cool head right here, which is creepy. He's got this nice mouth right here with all these points, kind of like a pumpkin to make it look like he has teeth. He's of course got those pointy eyes right there. He's got this shirt and everything on, which is a little bit roughed up, make him look a little bit more unsettling. And he looks big too. He must be 7 foot. And again, with this guy, it's a little bit strange seeing him sold for Halloween because he's more of a Christmas character, but still I understand he is supposed to be more of this Halloween character. And overall, this is a guy that honestly I wouldn't mind getting because where I am, we always get a bunch of snow before Halloween. So this guy would fit right in, just to have this evil snowman in my graveyard with snow all over the ground. It'd be creepy. And in this guy, I'm curious with his animation or if he's just a static because kind of how he looks like, it looks like it's just a bunch of molded plastic. So he might just be a static, but still I love the idea of this guy, an evil snowman. And honestly, this guy is probably one of my favorites for this year from Home Depot so far. And moving on, next up right here, this isn't really from the manager's meeting, I don't think. This is just a leak that was online, but basically it looks like we're going to be getting some some new animatronic technology this year, which is always cool to see. Last year we got some cool new technologies with the nozzles, motion sensor technology, and lots of animatronics becoming waterproof. But this year we're going to have this cool skeleton animatronic right here, which this guy you can actually control with an app, which is interesting. Now there isn't really any information about what exactly you'll be able to do with the app for this guy. Lots of people are speculating that'll probably be Bluetooth. You can add your own voice recordings to this guy. And some people I've heard are saying that he might have arm movement or head movement they can control from the app. But whatever it is, I really love all these different products that are now including all these special tech features we can control from an app. Last year I got some cool stuff from Canadian Tire, whereas these Christmas decorations, which one of them was this tree, which you can basically program to music. He, of course, has a bunch of different light functions. And even back here, I got this Snowman guy, which he's called like an animatronic. Of course, from the app, you can control his arm movement, his lights, and everything. So overall, I'm really excited to see this technology put into an animatronic, and I'd love to see them do more like this in the future. Overall, I really like this idea, and I can't wait to see this guy released because I really want to hear more details about him. Alright, and moving on, the next animatronic right here is this big ogre-looking guy. Or troll, I guess you could say, either way. But this guy's very unique because we haven't really seen too many animatronics like this before. He's kind of giving me vibes to Distortions with their big Colossus animatronic, I think it was called. He kind of is giving me similar vibes to that. But overall, I love the look of this guy. He's got these really big feet down there, which looks like an interesting design. He's got his big, creepy head up there with these teeth sticking out. He's got these creepy pointed ears, and yeah, face just creepy. He's got like his belly sticking out down here, it looks like, and then just all these roughed up clothing all over him, and looks like he must have side to side movement. But yeah, overall this guy looks cool, and I love how he's a character that you don't always associate with Halloween, but they're releasing him as a Halloween animatronic. Could definitely do some cool themes with this guy, like, I don't know, you have the haunted forest, this guy would be something that'd fit in there if you have an enchanted type of theme, but overall, he looks creepy, and another animatronic I'm excited for. And that there pretty much concludes it for the more unique animatronics. Now, next ones we're going to check out, I'm not saying they're not unique, I'm just saying they're concepts we've already seen before, but they all have their special features which are unique to their animatronics. But anyways, starting off with these other animatronics, let's check out this cool guy right here, which is the Butcher. Which this guy's giving me a little bit of similar vibes to back a few years ago when at Spirit Halloween in 2020 we had a Butcher animatronic, which was very similar. I think he also had a knife in the hand, but overall, I'm going to say I really do prefer Home Depot's design here over Spirit's, especially just with that hat right there. I really love what they've done. Like, the head just looks awesome. He's got, like, these tusks coming out, which just makes him way creepier, because it looks like he might eat you or something. And he's got this Butcher outfit on, too, which I think is nice. He's got the apron right there, the little hat. And this guy right here, I'm not 100% sure, but I think he might be a reskin of, I think it was a Soul Steer last year, the guy that pointed. Because if you look at his one hand right down there, he's of course got the finger, which is pointed down, but I feel like he's going to have that same animation where he points that finger up. And he might be a budget animatronic, again, like the Soul Stealer, or actually the Soul Slasher, that was the name. But he might be a more cheaper animatronic at only $100, which that'd be awesome if he is a reskin of that and he does carry on with that price point. And overall, he just looks awesome. Love the design on him, and if this guy comes to Canada, he would probably be one close to the top of my list for stuff I'd want to buy, because honestly, this guy right here, one of my favorites from Home Depot so far from what we've seen released. And carrying on, it seems like we're also going to have some new licensed animatronics this year. Of course, Frankenstein, it seems he's going to be returning, but this time with his wife, or whatever she is. We, of course, have the Bride of Frankenstein animatronic right here, which I'm really excited to see this. Their Frankenstein guy last year was so cool. They've used servos to really bring the character to life. His head movement, his mouth, his eyes, just everything worked together on this guy to make a perfect animatronic. And I feel like they've probably used that same technology here on the Bride of Frankenstein. It'd be really disappointing if they didn't, but I am hopeful that they did. And overall, the Bride of Frankenstein here, she looks like a decent animatronic. It still looks a little bit off. I feel like it's really hard to get a human-looking animatronic perfect, but for what it is, this thing right here does not look too bad. And overall, this one would be cool to see it come to Canada along with Frankenstein returning, because these two together would be perfect. And some other licensed animatronics we're getting this year is Chucky and Tiffany. Of course, we did see Chucky last year, but they're making a new and improved version this year, which is awesome. Last year's version of Chucky was so awesome, probably one of my favorite animatronics they released. So to see them make a new and improved version is even crazier, because, like, really, what else could they do with him? This guy is going to be even better and could potentially be the best licensed animatronic. And of course, along with him, we're also going to be seeing a Tiffany animatronic, which is awesome. And I assume with her, they're also going to be giving her servos like they did with Chucky. I feel like Home Depot, they're really wanting to give their licensed animatronics the best quality ever, because they can probably sell the most of these animatronics out of anything. And yeah, just with that extra quality, it just really makes it so much better. So overall, I'm really curious to see some demos of this. I'd love to see what the new and improved Chucky does, and then also Tiffany, I'd love to see if she has servos, which I'm really hopeful that she will. Next up here, I want to check out a few animatronics, which I believe are reskins of older animatronics, or even some more recent ones. Starting off with this one right here, we have a reskin of the Trickster trio from last year, which this year looks like we're gonna be getting a trio of zombies, which I'm really excited for. Of course, zombies, they're some of my favorite animatronics out there. And with them reskinning Trickster Trio into this, I think it's really cool. Of course, if you remember with Trickster Trio last year, these animatronics, you could either have them displayed separately, or you could stack them on top of each other. And yeah, with these zombie guys right here, I'm pretty sure you could do the exact same thing. You can have them just displayed separately or stack them on top of each other. Now, clowns, it made more sense with this scale, just having them very small, because, I don't know, clowns are always a bit weird. These guys right here, it is a little strange seeing them as smaller characters, but still overall it is something that I'm really excited to see. And yeah, it looks like they're continuing on with the exact same animations. They probably all have mouth animation, and the one guy there's a club he moves around. But overall, this one, if this one does come to Canada, it's going to be another one that's going to be close to the top of my list of stuff I want to get, because I'm a big fan of zombies, and this looks like a solid animatronic right here. And next up here, we have this Fisherman guy, which is very similar to a Fisherman type animatronic we got a few years ago, where it's basically just this fishing guy right here in the rocking chair. This guy, though, I do like how he looks. I think he's supposed to be more of this zombie fisherman, just judging by how his face is and everything there. But overall, I really love the idea of this guy. Of course, he'll probably just have the rocking back and forth animation, but also of how he has the fishing rod in the one hand right there and the fish on the end, which looks like it's been dead for a long time. So overall, this guy's awesome. Definitely love that design they've done there on the face and everything. So overall, this guy is another one that I'm really excited to see. And if he comes to Canada, he'd be one I'd debate getting. Not sure if I would be getting him, because I don't really have any fish or ocean themes in my haunt. But still, he's a really cool one. And even if I were to get this guy just for my front porch, that would be awesome. Another animatronic we got right here, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe this is another one that we've seen in the past, where it's basically this skeleton guy that has the whole boat right here that he's sailing. I'm pretty sure we got something like this around 2019, 2020. I'm not 100% sure, but overall, to see this here in 2025 is really awesome, especially with all the ocean animatronics, like I mentioned, we've been getting recently. I think this guy's an awesome one. He definitely gives me Pirates of the Caribbean vibes, which is really awesome, because honestly, Pirates of the Caribbean, it's one of my favorite rides at Disneyland, so you can basically have a piece of that in your own home, kind of. Because this is kind of like the scene where there's the skeleton captain on the ride. But overall, this is awesome. And I'm always a big fan of these skeleton pirate guys that we've seen before from other companies. So yeah, this guy, if he's brought to Canada, he'd be one that I'd want to get. Still not sure if I would get him. But yeah, this guy right here, he's an awesome one. And moving on, next up here, we've got some witch animatronics to talk about. Starting off with this one right here, which doesn't really look like anything too crazy. It just kind of looks like your purplish witch design. She's got that classic look with that greenish tinted face, I believe. She got the pointed hat, a crow there. She's holding a staff. This one could possibly be a reskin of that other silver witch we got from a few years ago. I think her name was Lethal Lily. Now, I'm not fully sure. Just the stance she's in, it looks like it could be. If it is that other animatronic used servos, so it'd be cool to see them make a new version of that witch with servos. Overall, I'm not the biggest fan of witches, but this one right here, it doesn't look like the worst one ever. It looks like it's decent quality and somewhat of a unique design. It's not too similar to other stuff we've seen before, but overall, it's an animatronic that I think is decent and it'll be interesting to see. And it seems like that's not the only witch animatronics we're going to begin this year, as also here in this photo, you can see we're going to have this duo of witches, which we've seen animatronics like this before, where we have two witch animatronics. This one, it just looks like a classic one. It's these witches in this black clothing. They, of course, have these greenish faces. Looks like the one there has this stick, so they're probably stirring a cauldron. Overall, just a classic design. It seems like it's nothing really crazy. I'd love to see them do more unique designs with witches, because every time we get a witch, it always seems like it's the exact same thing over and over. Like the Lowe's leaks that came out, we just saw some witches there, which are classic witches. That seems we're getting the same here from Home Depot. But overall, these two, they do look like an interesting design and it would be alright to see, but overall, not one that I'm personally really excited for. Alright, now getting into the last so many animatronics that are just some random ones I haven't really talked about yet. First of all, right here, we have the 12-foot animatronic type of guy for this year. This guy right here, of course, is the 15-foot Scarecrow, which is interesting because it doesn't really seem like we're getting any other 12-footers. Usually Home Depot's always a store that each year has multiple 12-footers, but maybe they're finally done with that, and they're only going to be giving us one 15-footer guy this year, along with the 12-foot skeleton return as always, of course. But honestly, this guy right here, even though I'm kind of sick of these oversized animatronics, he's not too bad. If you have farm theme, he'd be one that'd be really cool to put in there. I like the look of him. He's sort of like your classic Scarecrow where he's put on this little stand and everything, but I don't know, for him it kind of looks like he actually has a stick body, which is interesting. He's got that Scarecrow head up there, he's got the jacket on, and I like how he's a more unique design. He doesn't really look like your typical Scarecrow when you think of your classic Scarecrow that is sold like every Halloween store. He has more of that unique design, which I'm always a fan of when they do more unique designs. So overall, this guy right here, he's a solid one and just another awesome one from Home Depot. Another one here that I've not yet covered is this tree guy right here, which is interesting because it was a couple years ago we actually got another tree animatronic. And this year we're going to be getting another one, which is kind of in that same style, where it's just this prop. It's this big 10-foot type tree that you put on your yard. And this one, they did a bit of a different design. It looks more scared. I think the other one was more of a creepy looking tree, but he's got the branches coming on the sides, which are supposed to be like his arms. And overall, not the craziest one ever. We've basically got this exact same theme before, but still it looks interesting. And I'm always a big fan of some tree animatronics. And look at this photo right here. You can see a couple animatronics, which we don't really have too clear photos of, but we can kind of see their side profiles. Right back here, we of course have, I'm not exactly sure what he's supposed to be, but got this old looking guy. He might be a zombie animatronic. This guy, I think he's the one that we really know the least about. There's not too many like actual photos of this guy, but we of course have him there and he looks interesting. It looks like we're also going to be getting a new Reaper animatronic for this year, which this guy right here, he doesn't look anything too crazy, just a classic one. He's got the scythe right there on the side. He's just your black Reaper design. And then it looks like in the one end, he's actually got this crunched up skull right here. So that's a little bit unique and unlike other Reaper animatronics, but still not the craziest thing ever. But of course, moving on to this next image right here, we have this interesting pumpkin looking guy right here, which he's got the little staff right there that he's holding. He's got this creepy pumpkin head, which I like the design of that. He's got these really sharp pointed teeth. He's got, of course, got the eyebrows pointed down right there. And the pumpkin looks like it has all these bumps on it like that. He's got this hair coming down. He's got this cool top hat. And overall, it's sort of an interesting design. We've never really seen too many pumpkin men creatures like this. But overall, he's more of an interesting guy. Looks like he's probably a pretty tall one. I guess maybe 7 or 8 foot there at the top. It looks like he's definitely a tall one, especially with that top hat on there. But overall, he looks like an alright animatronic. Alright, and moving on, I have one last photo for all of you here, which in this, of course, in the bottom right here, we can see this interesting Groundbreaker skeleton guy right here, which isn't like the typical Groundbreaker skeletons we've been getting over the past couple years. This guy instead, it's kind of weird. It looks like he's floating over the ground a bit. He's got this rotting corpse look to him. And then there's also this bar there at the bottom. He's got these hands coming out. Overall, I'm not too sure exactly why he's built like this and why is the bar coming out there on the ground and why he's floating a bit. Overall, I'd love to see more information about this guy because this guy could potentially have some really cool animation, especially with this mech that we've never really seen before. But overall, I love this new take on a Groundbreaker skeleton. It's definitely better than the other ones we've received. We also see this guy to the very left, which this guy we also don't really have too many good photos of. He looks like he's a grave robber animatronic, maybe. I'm not fully sure on that. He could be something completely different, but we of course have his side profile right there. He's got a sack over his back. Looks like he comes with this rock that he's standing on. Overall, interesting, and I'd love to see more details about him. And of course, that other guy I mentioned earlier, which we also don't have too much information about. We can see a front view of him here, which still, I'm not too sure what he's supposed to be. He might be a zombie, but overall, he looks interesting. But anyways, with all said, everyone, that's pretty much going to finish it for today's video. Of course, this year from Home Depot, they've released a ton of awesome animatronics, and this year, I think, might just be their best year yet. Overall, I've heard that a big majority of their stuff is going to be coming to Canada, which, if that is true, I'm really excited because I'd love to see a ton of this in Canada, and Honestly, Home Depot this year could be my go-to store for Halloween animatronics. Unlike Spirit Halloween, which is usually where I go to buy most of my stuff. So anyways, overall, some awesome stuff, and definitely tell me down below in the comments what you think of this year's lineup. And anyways, make sure you like and subscribe and turn those notifications so you never miss another upload. And of course, that finishes it for today. I'll of course see you all in the next video coming out sometime soon. So anyways, that's it. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.